Today, I am going to tell you a story of Emma. Emma had been warned about the house. Neighbors spoke in hushed voices, crossing themselves when they passed. But she didn't believe in ghost stories, at least not until the first night proved them true. Welcome to Soul Speak Tales, where stories teach you English and emotions speak to your heart. Subscribe for more. My first night, Emma had always believed that a fresh start could sweep away the shadows of the past. She arrived at the old Victorian house on the edge of town with luggage in hand and hope in her heart. The house stood tall and proud, with its ornate windows and ivy-clad walls, whispering stories from a century ago. It was the beginning she had dreamed of: peace, silence, and solitude. But as twilight slipped away and darkness stretched its fingers through the cracks of the old wood, a hidden tension thickened the air. The first creak sounded just seconds after she'd closed the front door behind her. It was a soft groan of settling timbers, she told herself, but her skin prickled with unease. The house smelled faintly of dust and something else, a subtle hint of damp earth and something metallic that she couldn't place. She set down her bags with a sigh and flicked on the lamp in the sitting room. The dim light revealed walls decorated with aged portraits whose eyes seemed to follow her every move. The clocks ticked loudly, echoing like a heartbeat within the silence. Emma's phone buzzed in her hand, a message from her friend back in the city, reminding her to rest and call if she needed anything. She smiled weakly and slipped it into her pocket. The truth was, she wanted to be alone tonight, to find herself again without whispers of the past crowding her thoughts. She moved slowly through the house, unpacking essentials in the kitchen, feeling the gentle rhythm of her breathing. Yet the shadows clung stubbornly to the corners, as if reluctant to release the mystery they held. Suddenly, a soft rap echoed from the hallway, a quiet, deliberate tapping at the back door. Emma froze. The house was secure. She had checked the locks twice. She crossed the room cautiously and peeked through the frosted glass window. Outside, there was nothing but the wet gravel driveway, glistening under the lamplight. No one was there. The air seemed colder now, and a whisper of a breeze slipped in through a cracked window she hadn't noticed before. Emma moved to close it, but before she could touch the latch, a faint sound reached her ears. A whisper? A sigh? She turned quickly, but found only darkness. Her heart thudded erratically. She told herself it was nerves, fatigue, or the house settling once more. But the uncertainty lingered like a shadow on her skin. Back in the living room, she lit a candle, its flickering flame casting long, dancing shadows. The flame trembled with a life of its own, as if sensing the tension too. Emma took a deep breath and sank onto the worn sofa, pulling a blanket around her. Outside, the wind howled softly, rustling the bare branches of the trees. The house creaked and whispered ancient secrets. She reached for her phone to text her friend again, but the screen was dark. No signal. A cold wave of isolation washed over her. She was truly alone. A sudden knock startled her. It was louder this time, 3 sharp knocks at the door. She stared at the wooden door, her fingers gripping the blanket tighter. "Who's there?" she called out, voice barely above a whisper. No answer. Gathering courage, she inched forward, peering through the peephole. Nothing. Just the empty porch, shadows stretching long in the moonlight. Emma's breath was shallow. She stepped back slowly, locking the door once more. The night deepened. Every creak and murmur of the house echoed dangerously in the silence. Then came the footsteps, slow, heavy, outside the bedroom window. Emma's pulse thundered. She moved away from the window, her breath quick and shallow. Minutes passed like hours. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered and dimmed. Darkness swallowed the room. She fumbled for her candle, but it was gone, extinguished without sound. For a moment, the silence was complete. Then a whisper floated just beyond the door, a breathy murmur she couldn't catch. Emma's courage flickered, but did not die. She took out her lighter, hands trembling, and the small flame cut through the blackness. Eyes wide, she scanned the room. Nothing. Only the walls adorned with paintings that now seemed threatening in the dim light. She whispered to herself, "It's just the house, just my mind playing tricks." But deep down, she knew the house was alive with secrets. Suddenly, the phone buzzed sharply on the table. Emma jumped, grabbing it. A message blinked on the screen. "Don't trust the house." Her hands froze. Who had sent that? The number was unknown. Her mind raced. Should she stay or go? A sudden crash echoed from upstairs. A heavy thud, as if something had fallen. Adrenaline surged, heart pounding. She grabbed a flashlight and crept toward the staircase. Its wooden steps protested beneath her weight. At the top, the hallway stretched dark and silent. She moved toward the source of the noise. The master bedroom door was ajar. Inside, the room was empty, but the window was wide open, letting the cold night air rush in. A strange, cold swirl of air danced with the curtains. On the floor lay a small, old box, covered in dust and cobwebs, as though it had waited decades for her discovery. Emma's fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside lay a collection of letters, yellowed and fragile. Each envelope was sealed with a crimson wax stamp. She picked one and unfolded its brittle pages. The letter told a story of a woman who had lived in the house long ago, who had vanished without a trace on her first night. A tale of betrayal, heartbreak, and vengeance. The last line chilled Emma's blood. "Beware the shadows that linger, for they remember." A sudden wave of cold swept the room. The door slammed shut behind her. Emma spun around, heart racing. She was trapped, alone, with the house. The night stretched endlessly before her. The secrets whispered louder, and Emma knew this first night was only the beginning.